happy day, and I hope you're having a great, fantastic day. Welcome to the Sheila C. Hill Show. That C stands for come on in this room and have a sit down so we can chit chat. Listen, the Sheila C. Hill Show is all about talking about lifestyle, entrepreneurship, and mental health. Today, I'm going to take a little spin on a situation that has come up recently in my local area, and I wanted to shed light on it. I wanted to talk about in Fayetteville, North Carolina. The city council is trying to pass a law where kids have a curfew where they have to be in at a certain time at night. If not, they're going to have the violations. If they're not out with their parents, they're going to have a violation. It goes against them record and all of this. Okay, so there's a lot of concern on the kids to keep them from being in trouble or being a nuisance or a menace to society. But what happens when the kids are the victims? Who advocates for the kids? And this is what I want to talk about today. Who advocates for the kids? Recently, within the last 48 hours, there have been some traumatic events happening to some young boys that I know. One of which is my nephew, my 9-year-old nephew. Let's talk about that situation first. He goes to a local charter school in the Fayetteville area. And the bus driver accidentally swiped against his book bag, felt something hard in his book bag, assumed that it was a weapon, and they had to search him in the sense of he had to dump all of his stuff out. They had to get the SRO to basically search him to make sure he didn't have a weapon. They then proceeded to go to his locker, check his locker, and make sure nothing was there. This is my 9-year-old nephew. At the end of the day, to find out what was in the book bag was his thermos, his water thermos. A thermos was in his book bag. Okay? So now he gets on the bus with another young little Black boy, and who has nothing to do with the book bag or anything. What happens when we're just guilty by association? Now, not only did they make sure that my nephew did not have a weapon and went through his belongings, they also went through his friends' belongings. There was no probable cause of why they had to search the friend. Just because they get on the bus together? What's in the rules that says this? Okay. So now, if I understand the policy, see something, say something. So that's the bus driver's job to say, hey, there was something hard in the book bag. We need to check. Okay, if that's the case and that's the policy, okay. Let me tell you this. They didn't find anything, did not find any weapons. They sent the boys back to their classes or to their classes. Just go and have a regular day. These kids are traumatized. On top of that, the school did not contact the parents to let them know of the situation. Where is the policy that says that you can search a child in elementary school and not contact the parents? Upon further investigation on the Sheila C. Hill Show, when the parents went to check at the school did not follow protocol. They did not let the principal know of what happened with these kids. My question is, who is advocating for these kids? Who is advocating for these kids' mental state? So now this 9-year old and this 10-year old, two little boys, now are traumatized the fact that they got searched. And I'm gonna tell you what my little nephew told my daughter. He said they was searching my stuff and all the little white kids was just walking by. So then he feels targeted because he's a little black boy. He is traumatized. So these teachers, these staff that did this to these kids did not even focus on their mental state of how that could have made them feel, how that traumatized them. Why does something have to happen so traumatic to these kids and they not have anyone to advocate for them, to send them to a therapist or to send them to someone to talk to them and tell about their experience? But yet and still, if it was something on the other side where they actually was guilty of something, we would hear about it. We would hear all the, oh, you're suspended for this, you're suspended for this. But what is the school don't gonna do for these kids' mental state? And let's not even talk about the parents' mental state. Let me tell you, I'm gonna tell you because I'm a parent and I'm an advocate for kids. I work with kids since I was 18 years old. But I'm gonna tell you this: it is by the grace of God that these parents didn't go and burn that place down. It's by the grace of God that they handle it the proper way. But it's not guaranteed that everyone will handle it because you can get into your emotions and handle it incorrectly. I know for a fact that these parents are going the right way to handle this situation. But my question is, where is the schools? Where is the counselors that are supposed to protecting these kids when they are in your care? They are the most important things that you do. You care for those children and their mental state. You care for their well being, both physically and mentally. Somebody dropped the ball at this charter school. Who dropped the ball and who is going to answer to these parents and these kids? Justice needs to be served. It needs to have a conversation. We need to have a conversation when the kids need help. How is these kids? I mean, it's so easy for kids to compartmentalize and shut down, especially my nephew. He's really quiet. But for him to be verbal and to say how he felt when he was talking to my children, he was so verbal. And that was shocking because it was like, wow, you really, it's like he really got this. He understood that he, in a sense, felt targeted. He felt targeted because he's a young black boy simply going to school. Now, if everything would have worked out fine, had they did with the okay, the bus driver, that's the policy, had you contacted the parent and left it there, there will be no story. But you did not follow protocol, whatever your rule. If it's not protocol, it needs to be protocol in your school. But if you did not follow that, where you didn't call that parent, and then where you're going to bring his friend in because he's associated with this, and then you're going to search him too, we need to talk about that. That is unacceptable, and something needs to be done. Now, that happened on Monday. Wow, today is only Wednesday. Tuesday, which was yesterday, another friend's child was at a local after school program, well known after school program. I'm not going to call any names, but I just want you to know the basics. At a well known after school program in the area, was on their van, the after school program's van. Something happened. Word on the street is a car pulled out in front of the van. The van overcorrected, crashed into a light pole with over 10 kids from the after school program on the van, crashed into a light pole. The light pole split in half. The van, the tire is off of the axle. It is the front of the van is crushed. Kids are injured. My friend's child is injured, bloody nose, busted lip, and has never been in a car accident before, traumatized. Other kids on the bus have broken bones on this after school van. Why am I not hearing about this on WRL, CBS, and 17? Why am I not hearing this in the news? Had it been these kids doing something, you would hear about it. Now, these kids were in an accident. Now, I ran an after school program for 5 years, and there's policies and procedures. Now, my question is, if these kids, and they was in the care of adults in the after school program, the bus driver had the right to contact these parents of these kids. The bus driver or contact the after school program, and then they make the calls. Not one call was made to these parents that these kids was in a major accident. Not one call was made to these parents. The little boy that I know, he contacted someone who stopped by on the side of the road. The little boy who is about 9 or 10 asked someone, "Can I use your phone to call my mom?" Are you kidding me? The adults that these kids is under their care, they didn't call the parents to say your child was in a major accident. Where do they do that at? Are you kidding me? All right, now on top of that, now the procedure when I ran an after school program, we had to carry the list of names of our kids with authorization forms, giving us authorization to take these kids to the hospital in case of emergency. We had the numbers and we need to call the parents. Was there forms that this after school program had to give authorization for all of these kids to go to the emergency room? Okay, they didn't get authorizations from the parent because they didn't call the parents. Who dropped the ball? Who's advocating for these kids? Now, do we just send these kids back to school tomorrow all bruised up, bandaged up, cast and everything without having a conversation for their mental health? What do? Bus driver has a sling, but no one's contacting the parents? Why do we not put importance on these kids to advocate for them, to care for them like they're our own, but yet and still we demonize them for talking too much or saying something or doing little things in school or whatever. But when it comes to their life, these kids could have got killed in this car accident. And I'm sure that's on their minds. The traumatic, everything that happens when you get into a car accident. You don't want to ride in a car anymore. You have that fear. Where is the psychologist? Where is people that's going to come and help them process and get through this? Not just the children, but the parents. The parents left this after school program. They trusted this program to take care of their children. They felt them. Where is the story? Why are we not talking about it? But if the kids was in the mall past curfew time on the weekend, you would hear about it. There would be news and there would be cameras all talking about the kids not meeting their curfew at the mall without their parents. We need to focus on the real deal. We need to focus. And is it a coincidence that in both of these situations I'm telling you about, they're young Black boys in Fayetteville, North Carolina? Is it a coincidence that I'm talking about kids who may feel just left to the side? Is it a coincidence that the statistics of our young Black men is so high that become incarcerated? But when it comes down to who is supporting the kids when they're in the right, when they have been violated, where is the justice? I want some answers. I want you to share this. I want you to have the conversation. I want you to talk about it because it could be your child. It could be your nephew. It could be your niece. It could be your family member. How do we navigate? What do we tell the kids when it's time for them to do their homework and all they can think about, well, the adults above me failed me. Why should I try to focus and do my best work? They failed me. This is how I felt. Now, this is one thing that's going to happen. The rest of their life, this is going to stick with them. They're going to always remember their first search. And when I say search, it's not physically searching. They dumped out the everything. It's a word, it's a battle with the words. So they dumped out their book bag. They didn't actually touch them. So I want to verify that. But at the end of the day, it's still a search. They search the lockers. At the end of the day, potato, they don't care. At the end of the day, they did this to these kids, and they're always, and I can guarantee you, if you ever ask a black man who has been searched before, he's going to tell you, I remember my first search. I remember what I was doing. I remember the season. I remember how I felt. I remember. And that's going to stick with them for the rest of their lives. At 9 and 10 years old in elementary school, while at school, not on the streets, while at school. This is unacceptable. This is unacceptable, and something needs to be done. The conversation needs to be had at a higher level. Some people need to be held responsible for this school and this after school program. And how ironically, they're both in Fayetteville, North Carolina. When just, what was it, Monday night, the Fayetteville City Council, now they're talking about having this curfew for these kids. City Councilman of Fayetteville, North Carolina, what are you saying about this story? What do you say to these kids, to these parents? Have the conversation. How much do you really care about the children? And is this policy because you care about the children, or is it serving another agenda of yours? Okay, at the end of the day, you do right by your children, serve your children. Now, and this is my concern right here. What if my nephew didn't have a supportive family to support him? His mom going to the school to take care of her business to see what happened, and other people in the family to support. Because I know I ran an after school program. Sometimes the parents are either not in their lives, or the kids are being raised by the grandparents. They don't know the process. I feel like I can't make a big deal out of it. I don't want my children to be treated different if I go to the school and confront the problem. What about those kids that fall through the cracks, that do not have the support of their parents? They do not have the support of their family. These adults will treat them any kind of way because they feel like they don't have anyone to answer to. I've seen it. I've seen it. And I've seen how adults respond to kids who do not have that support at home. I've seen it, and it's unfair. I've been in the school system. I've seen it. They don't treat your child that well. But if they know that that parent will be coming up here to check on that child, believe me, they will have a second thought. So advocate for your children regardless. Make sure you do it right. Do it business-like. Don't go off just going off the whim within your emotions and being all fabulous and ghetto. Take care of your business. Because with this situation at the school, if it was the other people, they would have came up there with their lawyered down. But let me tell you, at the end of the day, you must advocate for these kids. Have the conversation, talk to your kids, ask their kids, hey, how's school? How do you feel with your teachers? How do you feel when someone says a certain thing? Have a conversation with your kids. Believe me, they know. They know. They can be as young as 5 years old. Believe me, they know what's going on. And they feel the tension, and they also feel the prejudice. They feel it from people who are destined for, well, are there for them to take care of them in the school day. Too many, two situations within 48 hours should not have been. The policy is there should be a policy, and it should be ran for the benefit of the children. Please share this information. Let's have the conversation. Thank you, and subscribe to the Sheila C. Hill Show. Have a great day.